Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bogey Proof. We got Joey, Matt, and Mike from the Bogey Proof staff ready to chat a little U.S. Open from last week at Torrey Pines, KPMG Championship, PGA Championship on the women's side. Matt's rocking his LPGA Tour hoodie right now and KPMG hat. So, we put these on Spotify and iTunes and everything, but take a look on our YouTube and we'll have the video out for this. Um, and then also the Travelers Championship, a hometown event for all of us here in New England. I know Joey's from New York, so he's going to say he's not from New England. But the Travelers Championship is still probably his hometown event on the PGA Tour. But Joey, kick us off. Where are you coming from, and what are you sipping on?
New Hampshire, rainy New Hampshire today, boys. Got some grocery shopping in, and they had the Coors. What is it? The orange cream pop seltzers. Don't know if you've heard of them yet.
I have heard.
Fucking good, man.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. So that's what we're coming in with today. Fontaine, what do you got?
Unfortunately, coming from rainy CT, score is going to be low this weekend. A little rain out there at TPC River Highlands before, the PGA Tour takes a turn through. But I got a nice coffee again. I got to do a little work after this. And I think I'm going to be recording a little gambling lab segment later tonight as well. Check us out over on YouTube. We got plenty of stuff out there, course previews, daily fantasy, all that fun stuff. But I did put a little Bailey's in this one just to, give the people what they need out here on the Bogey Proof podcast.
Fontaine is just becoming the content king at this point.
Sure.
Clearly solidifying himself on the Mount Rushmore of Bogey Proof content here. So appreciate that and all the hard work that you've been putting in on not just these podcasts but all the different socials and we got a lot of TikToks and some fun things going on there. But unlike you guys, it's not rainy here in Chicago. It's actually a beautiful sunny day, 75 degrees or so, maybe like 72, unbelievably comfortable. Was at the office here today, making a little bit of a transition back to the office the last 3-4 weeks, enjoying that. So fun to see the city kind of back, it's got its legs underneath them, I would say. And, fun to see kind of the hustle and bustle of the big city that is Chicago, but, enjoying a little same cocktail I had a couple weeks ago, actually, a little bourbon and a grapefruit seltzer. And I threw a couple blueberries in there. There's nothing wrong with a little fruit in your cocktail. I've been known to drink berry water, but we're going with a little blueberry grapefruit bourbon concoction, as I would say. But Fontaine, fill us in on what happened this weekend out at Torrey Pines from your perspective. Maybe start with kind of the mayhem that was kind of that little 2-3 hour stretch when all those leaders were on the front nine and the first few holes of the back nine, and kind of your emotions and kind of everything that was going on, and ultimately kind of the result of John Rahm kind of winning it relatively, outside of Louis having a chance to hole one on the last hole, relatively anticlimactic victory, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, given just the groupings, tee times, whatever you want to call it, we had lined up for Sunday was probably one of the best. Like, you go right down the list lineups that we've had in a little while at a major. Just all the big names at the, either at or near the top of the leaderboard, which you love to see. And like you said, I mean, that front nine, it was like everybody's going to get it. I mean, you had runs from JT early, you had Rahm obviously in the mix, Rory in the mix, Bryson making a charge, pretty much everybody but unfortunately Russell Henley and Mackenzie Hughes came out on that first nine just firing. And I think about the 7th or 8th hole for our leaders, which means the guys guys went off in front of them probably on like 11 or so. About 10 guys could have easily won this golf tournament. And that's kind of the funnest way to watch golf, is when it's like, holy shit, you can't even keep up with it. Clearly the coverage struggled to keep up with it. A shit ton of commercials on that front nine, which sucks because you couldn't see all the shots of all the guys making the moves up and down the leaderboard. Little front loading there, which I don't think makes sense, because by the end of the tournament, like you alluded to, Mike, it's a 1 or 2 horse race. And it's like, now we just have to fill dead air because you don't want to show poor Mackenzie Hughes or Russell Henley in the final 2 groups just hacking it around out there when they're now pretty much out of the golf tournament. That's a story for another day, I guess. We'll focus on the positives from this U.S. Open. I mean, was a lot of fun to watch. That, like I said, that first probably 3 hours of coverage or so is just like, holy shit, who's gonna slip, and it was just kind of birdie, birdie, par, birdie, all over the place from all the top guys. So it was a lot of fun. And, like you said, John Rahm, just watching him all day, it seemed like he was in a little bit more control, especially with the putter. All day, and, at any US Open, there's value in easy pars, right? I mean, it's such a long grind of 72 holes. And it seemed like all day he, hitting the smart shots, hitting them in the middle of the greens. When he had longer lag putts where, at a US Open, if you have a birdie putt, you can't afford to be making bogeys. He just seemed to make it super easy on himself and have tap in pars when that was the case. And I think at the end of the day, his iron play, especially, I mean, you saw on 16, 12 or 11 or 12, I don't even know which hole it was, but the other long par 3 on the back, like just
11.
hitting, just hitting missile long irons. And even the shot into 18, he misjudged the wind a little bit out of the left, but like 4-iron from 227, like that, you can't fan that by any means, and still get it to pin high. It just seemed like he was in a little bit more control, and there was less, like the big number was not in play for him, it seemed, out there. And, he finally got a couple putts to fall in 17, 18. And, you could tell he was well aware of where he was in that golf tournament when he made those, and knew he needed to make them if he was going to, end up hoisting this trophy. And I think all he really needed to do was apply pressure to Louis. I think if he, especially with that one on 18, I think if he's in at 5 and Louis just got to be even, I think it's a whole different outcome here, and we probably end up in a playoff, where I'd probably think Rahm would win anyways. But by making Louis have to make a birdie on one of the last two, I think he kind of forced his hand and led to that kind of errant tee shot on 17, and ultimately forcing him to have to hold out on 18. So credit to John Rahm. We've seen it's been well documented in the past, right? He's a very fiery, emotional guy, and you don't win US Opens by being like that. So I think he did a good job of, staying patient, not letting, all those barely missed putts on the first 12 holes for him today ultimately, forced him to, make a mistake or get ahead of himself, whatever it may be. But it was fun to watch. It was a good Sunday of golf. How about you guys?
Yeah, no, and I just want to kind of point out a couple little things about John Rahm. Like, obviously, tied the best round of the week at 67 on Sunday. So that definitely, tells us how well he was playing. And also too, it's interesting you mentioned kind of how fiery he is, and, he's definitely a little bit of an emotional roller coaster at times out there. And right, that's probably why he's so good, but obviously why he's struggled at times when it's been on the line. He comes out on Sunday and he birdies the first 2 holes, right? And then he finishes it off by birdieing the last 2 holes. So really kind of leaving no doubt from the minute he stepped on the first tee that he was, he was there to win the championship and get it done on Sunday. And then, seeing that all the way through, playing really solid golf, like you're saying, really never having a big number in play. When he got out of position, 11, he hits it in the bunker. He almost knocks it in the hole, right? Like a couple, yeah, just had a couple of tough ones that he just comes back and he makes the putts or makes the, the chip shot that he needs to.
The moment for me where I knew, like, okay, he's like focused enough, and he's got his kind of emotions in check, however you want to say it. Comes out birdie, like you said, right? Kind of pulls a wedge on, or not a wedge, it was 200 on 3 yesterday. Pulls whatever iron he hit on 3, 6-iron, whatever it might have been, long and left, like halfway down the cliff over there, and gets it up and down. Like John Rahm of 2-3 years ago, probably on that tee box, throws an absolute fit, right? Like what the, like, kind of flipping his club around, kicking the turf, whatever it may be, right? We've seen him do it. This year, he's like, all right, whatever, gets down there, stays in the moment, whatever. It's an unbelievable flop shot to like 12 feet and drains the putt for par. When he did that, I was like, well, he means business today, like he's very, like his head is in the right space to, potentially get this done today. And, ended up kind of carrying that mindset through 14 more holes, 15 more holes, whatever it was, and get it done. But it was very, very impressive stuff out of him.
Yeah, for sure. And to just kind of hold off. I mean, I know people kind of falter down the stretch, but we had a who's who leaderboard at the, at the end of that kind of that front 9. Brooks Koepka playing as well as anybody. Honestly, beginning of that back 9, if he makes that putt on 11, to be like 4 under through 11 holes, that was that was one that was playing through when they had a commercial going on, and that was borderline the biggest putt of the day for him. Obviously, struggled a little down the stretch, but if he gets the 4 under through 11, I don't know. My money would have been on him to finish it off there. Morikawa, I mean, guy is fucking insane. If he could make 3-footers, this was also a different tournament.
Holy shit! That one on 8, man. He hit a 4-iron from 2+ to 2.5 feet. Didn't even hit the hole.
And then 7, he missed a short one too.
Oh.
And he's like, he made one on 9, but he willed it in the hole from like 8 feet. It was just kind of tough to watch at some point. But we had Xander Schauffele, Scotty Scheffler, Paul Casey hadn't made a bogey, Rory McIlroy. Like there was no shortage of superstars on this leaderboard. So kudos to John Rahm for getting it done, and kudos to Louis Oosthuizen for kind of hanging around. Obviously wishes he had that tee shot back on 17. Looks kind of quick hit it and pulled it left, which is definitely a tough one. I'm a little surprised on 17 that more guys weren't trying to hit 3-wood short of those right bunkers. Like it's kind of a short hole. And with all the trouble left, I was a little surprised maybe not trying to hit like a 280 shot and then have a $150 into that hole instead of trying to smash a driver down there. I understand that's kind of way golf is played right now, but 17th hole in the US Open and you're down by, 1 shot at that point. If you make a par, I like your chances to make birdie on 18 and get into a playoff. So, I think probably something that he may want to have back. Obviously, if he hits it down the middle and knocks in a birdie and his chance to win the US Open on the next hole, it's a different story, but that didn't happen. Joey, did you get an opportunity to watch? I know we seem to ask you that every single week and, you're working and whatever, but I know you were following along at least. What was kind of this weekend?
Most of Sunday afternoon, I watched, but I was in and out kind of watching. I wanted to ask Fontaine more so what he thinks about his boy Rory, because Rory did exactly what you think Rory was gonna do. Like, come on. The other thing I wanted to say, like, what was his outfit on Sunday? Like, I didn't mind the shirt and I didn't mind the pants, but like together.
Yeah.
It's just not cool together. But I obviously I was pulling for Rory at first because he kind of seemed like he had that swagger back, and shit just kind of caught up to him, I guess. But it was good to see John Rahm win. The stars kind of aligned for him, right? That was where he got his first PGA Tour event. He proposed there. Just it's like the right time, the right place for him to get that win, I think. So
yeah,
it was a good story, especially with him just having his little baby not too long ago. I wish I got to watch him more, but that the 18th hole, I love that little pond right in front of the green. Like you can just tell it was just put there, but like I don't know, it's just something. Yeah, I feel like that's a very public golf feature, but it really, I don't know. I was just thinking that when I was watching that final round. I love that 18th hole. I hope I get to one day play it.
Yeah, it's a good hole. It makes your tee shot so important there because you can't and you've seen it in the past. Didn't happen this week, I don't think, but if you have to lay up and you have like a full wedge in there, and depending where they put that pin, like you can suck one down back into the pond.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't notice it this week. So it's like it is a good little, and it makes your layup hard, right? If you do have to lay up, and it makes your, if you're not laying up, your approach like, okay, you take the front pins pretty much out of play for anybody going for eagle, like because everybody going is like, okay, I have to make sure I get it at least to the middle of the green. I'll deal with it if it's on the back. That's where Rahm made his putt to win, so many years ago, whatever it was, his first win. But it is an interesting little feature, and with the
it is just tiny little pond. It's just
exactly. It's enough to mess people up though. Yeah, and with the Rory thing, like the thing that got me was, well, he had the wedges dialed on the front 9. Like he was hitting the awkward numbers, hitting them to 7-8 feet, didn't make shit on the front 9. So I was like, oh boy, that doesn't feel great. But then on 10, he's got like an 8-foot tester for par. I'm like, fuck, he's missed his putt all day. Like here it goes. And he drains it. So when he makes it on 10 to stay at 4 under and Bryson's kind of making a mess of the hole in front of him, I was like, all right, like,
yeah,
like you got like, here we go. You got 8 holes left. You're tied for the lead now. Like, here we go. And then he hits like a perfect iron on 11. And again, it's like 2 and change. He had like a perfect 5-iron, middle of the green, had like 25, 30 feet, and just blew his first putt like 6 feet past, or maybe left 6 feet short. I don't know, but like way off on the speed. And 3-putt, I was like, what the fuck was that?
like,
Like, we've been working so hard all day and playing so solid. And he just like brain fart there. And then the next hole makes a double. I was like, all right, well, sick. 7 minutes go by, and there goes your fucking chances. Like, oh, he was.
It is. It's crazy how fast these players
The
change.
one thing I will say though is like he hasn't been anywhere near that close in like 4 years, I think. So I'll take that out of it. I'm like, if we want to pull some positives out of it for Rory, he hasn't been that close in a major, like literally in the lead or tied for the lead on a Sunday in 5 years. He backdoors
I think
top
when it
10.
was at Masters, he was in the final round.
Oh yeah, 2018 with Reed, right?
Yeah.
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 But outside of that one, I don't think he's been anywhere near. Actually, he backdoors a ton of them and gets top 10s out of it and shit. That was the first time he actually like had a legitimate chance to, I think,
Exactly.
major in a long
It
time.
wasn't really that backdoor top
Which,
10.
based on his form this year, that's a pretty big step because he looked like shit for a lot of this year.
Yeah.
So we'll pull the
No, I
positives
mean,
out of it.
I've
but
said it. I have a
seems like
love-hate relationship with that guy. If I could
Yeah.
have anyone swing on towards him, but like there's just something about him that makes it's like, dude, you should just be getting it done out there, and you're just not like.
Yeah, he sucked me right in and broke my heart again this weekend.
Yeah,
Sunday,
and that's what he
it's gonna
does.
happen.
It's fucking annoying.
I mean, I'm gonna pick him to win the Open probably now that I have any sort of form.
I already know who I'm picking for the Open. You guys have no idea either.
Hold it close to the vest. Hold it close.
I am. I'll save it for the Open. We'll see.
So on kind of our last topic of the the U.S. Open here, Bryson, 33, 44. The bogeys on 11 and 12. Honestly, he makes the turn there and has a good look on 10. Another person that you're thinking, if he makes this, how does he not win the U.S. Open with the way his form has been and his ability kind of to get it done in some really high level tournaments, the last year. That was really surprising for me to see him kind of falter. I know he didn't play great on Thursday, but the way he played Friday, Saturday, and the front nine on Sunday, I was really surprised by that. I don't know what your guys' take on Matt. Were you surprised by that? Did you see the implosion coming? I feel like we're a pretty Bryson neutral, group here, but
I definitely didn't see it coming. At least to that extent. I figured he's going to make a bogey or two because he wasn't hitting fairways. He was just missing it in the right spot a lot of the time all day. Like, he wasn't in like total control by any means, but he was, kind of doing his bomb and gouge thing where he's like hitting it so far up in such nuanced spots where it's all matted down from people walking on it, whatever, where I'm not in the rough 2 feet from the fairway is worse than the rough that's 20 yards from the fairway kind of thing. He seemed to be doing that all day, and just kind of when he had an opportunity, he was kind of taking advantage of it. So I kind of knew a bogey or something was coming, but not a 44. I'll tell you that. I mean, I didn't hate seeing it either because he was they were like 3 holes behind or 2 holes behind the group in front of him at one point. Like, he was so slow out there. Granted, when you shoot 44 in the U.S. Open, you can't play that and you can't do that and play quickly. But I don't know. I didn't mind seeing it. I wasn't like, out of that leaderboard, I was like, Bryson got one last year. Like, I want one of these other guys to either get their first in a long time. Obviously, pulling for Rory or even a guy like Rahm or Louis. I would have loved to see kind of any. That was my 3. Obviously, that's a lot, but like those are my guys that if I could have picked, as long as it was one of them, like I was good with. So I didn't really need to see him win back to back, but I didn't know a 44 was coming. Like, some of those shots, I was like, whoa, like what the fuck was that? Like, he like boned that chip way over the green on 13 and then making like an 8 or whatever. I was like, okay, all right. Like, I guess that's what we're doing now. After, like you said, I think his 9 holes before that, they were like 4 or 5 in a row of them were 33 or better. Or sorry, 35 or better. Where it was like
didn't
35, 32, 33, 35, 33 or whatever.
He didn't make a bogey for like 40 holes.
Yeah, exactly. And then just does that. And it's like, oh, all right. Imagine if you had like a top 10 or a top 20 ticket on Bryson and he's in the lead on the 11th tee by himself and finishes T26. and you lose out on all that shit. I mean, it was tough.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna win the tournament as soon as what was it, number 8, when he almost had the hole-in-one.
Yeah, that was nuts. Yeah.
When I saw that, I'm like, all right, this guy's about to do it. Go back to back, and that was one thing I was kind of thinking. I was like, all right, well, that's gonna kind of just grow that feud between him, or that rivalry between him and Brooks a little bit more, because Brooks has done that. Now Bryce can say, look, hey, I've done it as well. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Same thing. I kind of wanted to see someone else win. I didn't want to see him go back to back, because I like Brooks having that upper hand on him anyway. But I meant to tell you guys. So my brother sent me a picture. It was like from an old US Open, and it could have been Photoshop, but like it was literally fairway, and then the rough was basically like the length of fescue grass. And I was just like, I would love if they actually did that. Like, you literally have to hit a fairway or you're fucked. Like yeah, the rough that they have now is bad, but like, I want them to make it like literally impossible. I think that'd be so cool.
I think the closest I think we're gonna get to that was Shinnecock.
What's that?
Bad. Shinnecock was bad like that.
Yeah.
Shinnecock is fescue. It's not regular rough like you see at Wingfoot or Torrey.
Let me see if I can.
Crazy shit, but it was. I don't love Torrey like as a major venue. I mean, the leaderboard was ridiculous, but like I don't know many holes out there, and I feel like for a major, you want to be like, oh, remember that fucking tee shot on 13, or that how hard that approach is on 7, something like that. Like, oh, other than 18, like you mentioned, I don't know any of the holes, and I probably only know 18 because of what Tiger did in 08. And then I'll remember Rahm. He had a
what's the one little par 3 that with a nice
3.
Yeah. So okay, I got 2 holes out of 18 on a major championship venue, and I watch it every single year already with the Farmers. So it's like, is it really a major championship venue? I don't know, but
the bones are there, but it's definitely not like overly.
Yeah,
it's not that interesting. It definitely wouldn't be my first choice for the place that I would want to play if I was getting a chance to play a U.S. Open venue.
Fontaine, I just sent you the thing. I don't know if Mikey, you follow the account, so I don't know.
Yeah, the 55 Open with Ben.
Yeah, how fucking
it's sick up to his knees, the rough. Yeah, I've seen.
I would love that. That's the carnage.
Yeah, I think that's at Riv.
Is it?
I think so. Look at that clubhouse up on the left.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
But I think that would be awesome.
Looking at our Instagram stories.
No, I agree. Joey, I think it would be fun to do that. We have, I think the idea of the U.S. Open is going to transform a little bit here in the next 5-10 years, because they've come out and said, hey, we're going to stick to a pretty small rotation of 6 or 8 courses in the near future, with kind of Pinehurst being the place that they go back to every 6 years, with Pebble and Shinnecock and Oakmont. And, so I think we're going to see kind of the idea of what the U.S. Open is. And, I think too, with like whatever the head of the USGA there, who's moving on to design golf courses. Yeah. I don't know who's going to fucking pick him to design a course.
Mike Davis,
like, I don't think anyone wants him designing their course, but with him kind of moving on and just like a transition to a younger generation taking over the USGA, I think we're going to see kind of that identity change. And I wouldn't be surprised if we move into thicker rough, and I don't know if we'll ever get back to that point.
I doubt it, but I
doubt it. But like, I think there's going to be some player input moving forward. With that being said, I don't mind 6 under winning a U.S. Open. I think that's a good number.
The final number was solid. I'll take that all day. I mean, if you were under par, I think you were top 15, right? And I feel like that's a good test. That's about right. I think it didn't get like it was like you said, 67 lowest of the week. Like it's not that deep for these guys. No. I mean, granted, it should be a par 72 because like 6 they just changed the par on it, but I'm
classic USGA. Just making courses more difficult by changing 5s to 4s.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not just? Yeah,
shit, I forget what I was gonna say.
Yeah, fun week of the U.S. Open though, and looking forward to. We got the Country Club next week here, or next year in Massachusetts. So I'm gonna get out there to watch it because it's $800 for a weekly ticket. But excited to see that on TV for the Country Club.
No, maybe I won't be going unless I got my Class A by then. If they're $800 for a ticket, I don't know.
I mean, no better motivation than that, my guy. Come on.
Yeah, no.
That's one where you could just drive down for the weekend, stay with Peyton, and you're good to go, right? I mean, you still got to drive to Boston, but
yeah,
Vermont down.
Got to get the time off from work. That's another thing.
Put that in your
Joey.
Make a little agreement. I get my Class A, you give me the week off of the Open. All right, like make a little trade with your work.
I'll see. I don't know. It doesn't quite work like that.
Maybe a day or two.
A day or two, maybe, but no, the whole weekend, I don't know. But I've been trying to get out there and play. We got a member here who's got a buddy there that we had something set up, but it fell through. So I'm waiting to hear back on him. But we do have a member who belongs there as well. So I'm just gonna be like, yo, Mike, come on, take me out. Let's come on. I think he'll bring me out. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you posted on that one. That'd be awesome, though.
From one major to the next, let's chat KPMG Women's PGA. I just want to first start off the KPMG Women's PGA. They've done such a good job from a venue standpoint. I think, right? I'm reading an article right here. The last venues that PGA have been played at. So Westchester Country Club, which hosts the PGA Tour event for a long time. Sahalee in Washington obviously has had a PGA. Olympia Fields, Kemper Lakes, Hazeltine, Aronimink, and now Atlanta Athletic Club. We have all major venues on the men's side. And then obviously this year, just the setup of majors, we had right A&A and at Mission Hills, great golf course, U.S. Women's Open at Olympic Club, Atlanta Athletic Club here for the PGA, Carnoustie for the U.S. Women's Open, and then Evian, at Evian Resort, a cool major championship venue that they play every single year. So from a venue standpoint, we're doing pretty unbelievable in the women's game right now. And then also this little tidbit, ready? So the last 31 majors that have been played on the LPGA Tour, we have 25 different winners. The last 10 majors have been won by 10 different people. Like that is just the women's game is in a really cool place right now when you have 10 different winners in the last 10 majors, elite venues. We're in for something special this week. So excited to see Atlanta Athletic Club. I really enjoyed when they had the PGA there in 2011 or maybe 2012. Keegan Bradley got it done.
Oh, right. Yep.
Beating Duffner. Yeah. And then they've had a USAM since then. So a really cool venue, and the game's in a cool place. Obviously Nelly Cora won last week up in Michigan. So a top 5 player in the world getting it done there. There's a lot of people in top form coming into this week. Matt is kind of our on staff LPGA Tour expert, I would say, or at least coming into that type of form. What are you looking for this week? And when did you get that sweatshirt? How long did it take to come in?
I mean, I ordered it right when they blew up, right, in that week or two, whatever. So it got back ordered about a month and a half or so. But it came in, we got it, so we're not going to complain. It's a good summertime sweatshirt, late at night, whatever. Cool nights. Got a nice, we got a nice cotton candy sweatshirt to wear now.
I bought one. I like those a lot.
Yeah, it's super comfortable too, actually. It's really nice. But I'm looking forward to, the Corda sisters are ridiculous, right? I mean, they both have won this year now. Nelly shot 62 last weekend in order
Saturday,
to win. Yeah, on Saturday to win. So it's like I said, the girls' game is in a really cool spot. I think, if you take Brooks out of the picture the last handful of years on the PGA Tour, we have something very similar. With not a lot of people winning, majors in bunches. He had Jordan in 2015, but outside of that, I mean, it's just really impressive to see. It's you're in a good spot when it's not Tiger versus the field, right? As much as I love Tiger, that's not necessarily, and Tiger's kind of the unique circumstance, but you need 10 different storylines going into the week. And, you have Lydia Ko's shown form again this year, and she's been kind of off the world for a little while. It's like, can she get back in the major circle, being the youngest person to ever win a major? You got Danielle Kang, who had super solid year the last year and a half or so, but hasn't won a major in, I want to say, 3 years. So like you have a lot of different storylines now because you have so many players at the top that are like so good, that top 10, top 15 in the world, that anything can happen when you go into these major weeks. And I think that's when golf is, whether it's LPGA or men's tour, it's like when you have that many options to win, and you did like, it makes it fun because you get so many different things to talk about, so many different angles, so many different ways to apply. I think Danielle Kang's going to win because A, B, and C. I think, Nelly Korda can win because A, B, and C. And like, you get all those different avenues you can take. I mean, you have like Patty Tavakit, I think her name is, who bombs the ball, right? So you have that you do have a handful of that new age, quote unquote, LPGA Tour player where they're starting to get it out there, like Lexi Thompson S, where she was kind of the outlier for a long time, where now you have a handful of players that kind of hit it similar to that. And there's just a lot of different stuff to look for in the LPGA Tour right now. And I think, the more majors we get, I don't know what the TV schedule is like for them this week, but I would hope they get a little bit more action than their normal weeks, especially going up against the Travelers post US Open. Field certainly not as strong on the men's side compared to the strength of the field on the women's side. So I hope they get at least a couple decent slots, whether it's prime time or not. I don't know how they're going to finagle that. I don't know if it's CBS or NBC or how they're splitting that up this week, but I hope to see some LPGA Tour, golf this week. And if I can find it on some kind of, whether it's on Peacock or whatever, I'll definitely be watching Thursday, Friday, while I'm working and enjoying the product that the LPGA Tour has to offer these days.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited for this week. Just to kind of see, like you're saying, there's so many storylines that are kind of coming about the last couple of years. And I think the game just being in such a good spot, I'm just excited that it's such a wide open event. Like, I think, yeah, we can talk about the favorites, but at the end of the day, like, there's 15, 20 girls that are going to show up and have a chance. And then we've also seen kind of people on the outskirts, right? Like Allie Ewing got it done at Shadow Creek. Like, she was a little bit on the outside of the top, like 25, 30, was a really good player. Honestly, it's funny. I completely forgot who she was because she changed her last name when she got married. She was a really good player when her name was Allie McDonald too. And I was like, who the fuck is this Allie Ewing girl who's winning on the LPGA Tour?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I looked it up and I was like, oh, okay. But so it's like stuff like, so that was kind of funny to see, but we've just seen a bunch of different winners, a bunch of different major championship winners. I think I'm still relatively new to watching the women's game. And I think every single time I watch it, I learn something new, not only about a new player on tour, but just like how they operate on the golf course and how they dissect, playing a championship venue. Said it before, and I will continue to say it. Our listeners will learn more from watching the LPGA Tour than they will from watching the PGA Tour. Watch some of these girls go out there, right? Nelly Korda is one of the longer hitters on tour that won last week. She averaged like 275 off the tee. The majority of my buddies don't hit it 275, but if they hit a good one, they probably hit it in that region. Definitely, can learn something from watching the LPGA Tour and in a major championship where everything's heightened. You get a little more coverage on TV. We have some opportunities to watch it a little more than we usually do. People should take advantage and do that this week.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, it's going to be a fun week to watch that, and excited. I'm a little, it's tough because I want to watch Travelers Championship. But I'm definitely going to find myself probably gravitating towards the KPMG Women's Open on Sunday if it is a tight race. But let's chat Travelers Championship. I know this is a tournament that I grew up going to. Probably went to like, I'm going to say 6 or 7 installments of the Travelers Championship, if not a few more.
Yeah.
And you like that word installment there?
Yeah, I did.
But yeah, so I've probably been to 6 or 7. A handful of ones. It was a great. It was like we used to go in high school, like right when you first were able to drive. Like, it definitely with my parents once or twice, but it was definitely like a fun thing in high school when you like kind of had a job or part-time job, but you had a car and you could sneak down there with your buddies and watch golf and go watch a marquee pairing or just sit on 15, the drivable par four, and watch people come through. So it's definitely a tournament that's close to my heart, and looking forward to watching this week. It'd definitely be probably one that I watch the majority of the highlights and stuff, just with working Thursday and Friday, and then with the major on the LPGA tour. But Joey, have you ever been to TPC Highlands to watch Travelers Championship? And if you have, what was it like? If not, what's kind of maybe one thing that you remember from watching on TV?
No, I've never been, never played, never went to a tournament. I hope to one day get there. I've had a buddy here who actually went and played it last year, and he said he enjoyed it quite a bit. As far as anything I remember from the course watching on TV, I really got nothing for you there. I'll be honest. I
Come on, Jordan in 2017. You don't remember
No.
that bunker?
like I remember that, but just course details itself is nothing that
I wasn't asking about the course details. I'm talking about the finish. Greller and him doing that chest bump, the
Hucking the wedge at
hucking the
somebody.
wedge.
No, you make a good
Jim
point.
Furyk shooting
I'll be honest,
58.
I forgot that was there. That's on
Jim-
me.
Jim Furyk shooting 58. Ken Duke getting it done in like 2012.
I just remember all.
That
baffles me. I
Nah,
can barely remember what I had for breakfast this morning, let alone remember what happened in tournament.
buffalo chicken omelet.
What'd you have?
I was just-
If you
but
don't remember that one,
it
back to
always
some of our
excited
earlier
for a good
episodes.
always excited for a good tournament. Hopefully, I'll be able to watch some of it, but who knows if that's gonna.
Fontaine, what about
We
you?
got the Gordon Cup this weekend, boys. I ain't gonna watch any of that.
The what?
We got the old Gordon Cup, our member tournament.
Ooh. What kind of format we got?
So day one is the front nine is going to be better ball. Back nine will be alternate shot. Day two, the front nine is a scramble and the back nine is combined.
Let's go. A little Ryder Cup action. Throw a little aggregate at them on the last nines. That's fun. I like that.
Yeah, it's a big event. It's usually one of our bigger events. I think we got 84 players, so full field for the old hill.
Love that.
Yeah, got Interclub tomorrow. A little quad cup action. So we got who is it? Lake Winnipesaukee Golf Club of New England and Bald Peak Colony Club coming on over. So big couple days coming ahead.
You guys are a busy club. I like it.
It's nuts how busy I am.
Busy is good. Busy is good, Joe.
It is good. It is good. But
Busy
yeah,
is
so
good.
I mean, my lack of golf facts and knowledge is lacking for nonetheless. But let's go, boys.
Well, Joe, we'll give you a pass on this one. Next week, what are they playing next week on the PGA Tour? No idea, but do some research, get some facts. We'll ask you that question again next week. But Fontaine, I know you've played the course before. Maybe give us one hole that you're looking forward to this weekend, and then also kind of what's ingrained in your mind when you think of Travelers Championship and TPC River Highlands.
From playing the course, and this one, I guess my favorite hole from playing. And it's kind of tough to get cameras out there everywhere because the way the course kind of wraps throughout condos, it's not the easiest for them to get the best camera angles on every hole, especially that back nine before they get to 15. It's like it's just tucked back in the woods up against condos, so they can't really get like towers out there or anything. But 13 and 14, that it's like a short par 5 with a lot of water in play, and then it's a short par 4, but like super super tight down the hill where you hit a good drive, you're flipping a wedge down the hill, but if you miss it all, you have really no way to get to a green. It's just like it gets really narrow and tight with some trees around it on your way in. So if you put one up in the condos or miss it out in the rough on the left, like you gotta go up and over or around these trees and stuff like that. So those are two holes that you probably won't see a ton of on TV, but pay attention to what guys do on them, I guess I'll say, because they're like that short par 5, that's people are gonna make a ton of eagles on there, but you know, you take the wrong club, there's water all along that left side where, you know, now you're making bogey, whatever it may be. Kind of a weird green complex too. Like it's just super big green where it's like you can, you know, if you might hitting a green and having an eagle putt isn't always an eagle opportunity. And that's kind of a par 5 that kind of displays that. Again, it's only 520, maybe they max out to 530, 540 if they move the tees to some weird spot out there this week. So for these guys, they're all going to have a chance to go for it if they hit in the fairway. But I just remember from myself playing that was a fun hole to play where you got to really like make a good confident swing at it if you're going to give it a crack with the kind of danger on that green. And that next hole, it doesn't get the most attention again, just given where it is on the course, and they can't really get cameras to it. But it's a tight little driving hole where it's super easy if you hit a good drive, but there's a lot of shit where you can. It's not the widest fairway in the world, so there's a lot of shit you can get into. And like I remember a few years ago, I was at the tournament, I watched Smiley Kaufman make like a 7 on that hole. I mean, granted, that might not be the best example. He's not, doesn't have the best form in the last 5 years, but it can get ugly quick on that hole too. It's a one of those greens where it's like that upside down turtle shell, whatever you want to call it, or upside down soup bowl where everything just falls off around it into bunkers, rough, whatever, and it gets a little. It's like some native area back there too. So again, to avoid the obvious pick of like 15 and 17, 18, those that kind of really fun finishing stretch where there's usually some fireworks. Those are kind of 2 holes that you might not see a ton of on TV, but if they do happen to get a camera out there, they're pretty fun to watch. But outside of that, I mean, Travelers, like Mike said, I've been there half a dozen times, whatever it may be. It's a good. I think again, I haven't been to a ton of golf tournaments, like in person, but it's a good one to go to, just given that you can go sit behind the 15th green there and you see people. It's a 290, 300-yard par 4, so they're all going for it, or they hit a 7-iron and lay up, but it's reachable for everybody in the field. So if they get the right wind or whatever and they like it, they give it a go. You get to see people making eagles, but also making doubles with water on the left pin high, and there's no rough to stop the ball, so you miss left of that green, rolls right into the water. So you get to see all sorts of different shots. The green, it's run off on the left in the water, but runs off on every side into the little valleys and stuff. So you see guys putting from off the green, bumping them into the hill, flopping it up in the air. You get to see a lot of different cool golf shots on that hole and get to see some creativity of these guys around the green, which I think is fun to see in person, them kind of walk around, survey the land, do all that kind of shit, and then hit a shot. And then you turn right around and you're right on the 18th tee. So you get to see people pumping driver out there and see the green on 17, approach shots coming in over the water. So between that and then on the front side, you go to, the 6th tee box, par 5 going out. You get to see 7 green coming back in, and the 8th tee, which is a par 3. So between those 2 spots, they kind of like, those are like the, epicenters of each 9. You can go post up there for an hour and a half and see 20 different golf shots, and like 4 or 5 groups go through and see so many different like golf shots, whether it's around the green, putting, iron shots on par 3s, drivers, whatever you want to see. And like, you just get the most bang for your buck without having to cover a ton of ground, which, Mikey, we went to Medina, right, for the BMW a handful of years ago now. And as amazing and breathtaking as that course is, you spend all day walking, right? Like there's most holes there. It's like, it goes from green to tee and then you're off, and then green to tee and then you're off. Like, yes, you can watch them putt out and then hit a tee shot, but you don't have much coming back up to you, or like, there's no like, real kind of epicenter where you can just hang out for an hour or so and just see a ton of different shit go on, where I think that's really valuable at TPC. Again, that's just due to the lay of the land and stuff like that. Like they had to put it around condos, so they kind of have a lot of overlap, and it's right on top of themselves. But it's a really fun place to watch a golf tournament live, and they have one of the better practice areas too. Like that range is massive, and it's surrounded by the putting area and the short game area, where again, you go sit in the middle. Right in front of you, you have whoever hitting range balls, and it's a massive range, so you get targets all over the place. One of the better facilities on tour, I think a lot of the guys say. And then you turn to your right, it's the big putting green. You get to see guys doing their pre round routines or whatever. I saw one year when Rory was there, he was putting with a wedge for like a half hour, and I was like, oh boy. I was like, my man has some serious issues here. And then you turn to the left and it's, big bunker area, chip, like short game area and stuff like that. So it's just a really good spot to watch a golf tournament with kind of, there's 3 or 4 spots where if you get there, at the right time and you're not like behind a million people, you can just sit there for hours and just see so many different guys, so many different shots, so much different, aspects of a golf, of how good these guys are that you might not see on TV.
Yeah, for sure. And I think too, an underrated thing, and maybe this is just being from New England and I just notice it, they just bring like pretty good vendors in there, right? Like you can go and get yourself a Dunkin', you can go get yourself an iced coffee, like on the
Bears
like
barbecue.
maybe like 25 yards from the 10th tee, like a little pick me up when you're walking. You want yourself an ice cream, you're not getting some bullshit ice cream, you're getting a Ben and Jerry's, right? Like you're like they got the good stuff there. Practice facility comments are spot on.
I bought
definitely like it
today.
What'd you buy?
What'd you say, Joe?
I bought 4 pints of Ben and Jerry's today.
My guy.
Understandably so. That shit's pretty good. Also, I just think too, like being close to home here, it's just it's fun. I think I didn't get an opportunity to see him play because I was working. I think I had moved. This was probably the summer I moved out to Chicago, but my uncle played in the Travelers one year. He played in the Travelers a handful of times, but late in his career after winning a Connecticut PGA stroke play event and got to play in the PGA and had his kids watch. And so that was kind of fun. And then I think his grouping that week was Ryan Armour and Bryson DeChambeau too, which I think I might have mentioned at some point on this podcast too, but pretty cool to, play with Bryson before he kind of, transformed his body and became the player that he is today. But yeah, no, a lot of cool stuff on, at the Travelers Championship, and looking forward to a fun week. We didn't do picks for KPMG, but let's do picks for some Travelers. I'll start us off. I'm going guy who has been really close here at Travelers and his form is really good. I'm going Paul Casey this week at Travelers Championship. Ball striker, makes a lot of birdies. If he gets the putter going at all, I like him to be, in a top 10 with if not, have an opportunity to win on Sunday. Joey, who do you got this week in Cromwell, Connecticut?
I got good old Brooksy. He had a overall decent showing, tough finish this past weekend, but we kind of talked about it before before we started recording, but it's either he can easily do it. It's just a matter of him giving a shit or not this week. So we'll see if he can get off to a good start. And if he does, then I think he's got a good chance. If not, then I think I have another bad pick in the books, but we'll see how we do this week. What about you, Fontaine?
I'm gonna go a little off the tracks here. I'm gonna go with Kiz. He hasn't been playing great this year, but he made the cut at Torrey, which is a place he has no business kind of contending in. Got frustrated with the Poana, which he told in some of his interviews, but these greens are usually pure as hell, so I think he'll get a little momentum going with the putter, and it's a place he can it's a place he can contend at. It's probably one that he borderline circles on his calendar every year, just because it's he's not going to get just outdriven by everybody and just fall behind. He doesn't have to hit, he can kind of plot his way around this place and has a good week with the putter and could very well be in contention. He could very well just play like shit because he hasn't had the best year of up to his standards this year, but maybe get a little bounce back. He made the cut last week and was probably super frustrated by that course and that setup. It just doesn't fit his game. So the fact that he kind of gutted that out gives me a little hope that maybe, getting back to a place that he'll probably feel a little bit more comfortable at, maybe he has a good week.
I like that pick.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot, and yeah, you're right. I think that's probably a pretty good value pick, but kind of right in the sweet spot of like, probably like top 25 as far as where the betting odds go, but nothing too crazy there. A lot of young guys in the field too. I think Travelers is known for giving college players some exemptions. So we got John Pock, who played down in South Carolina, was got it one player of the year for Division I college, and then also Austin Ekrot, who played for Oklahoma State. Not as many as we usually get. We usually get maybe like 4 or 5 guys that make their PGA Tour debut or pro debut at the Travelers. You can go back to when Patrick Cantley made his pro debut here and shot 60, I think, in his pro debut at the Travelers Championship. So be on the lookout for maybe some young guys who are getting an opportunity and a sponsor's exemption this week, and maybe they'll do something special. I want to give a second pick. If Paul Casey doesn't win, my money's on Mark Leishman. Probably going to put him. That's like an auto top 10 at a Travelers Championship, a place that he's won before and in really good form as of late.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Big week of golf.
But fellas, really, really big week of golf and a lot of fun. Joey, I know you're going to be working pretty much the entire time, but we will keep you posted via, Instagram highlights and Bogey Proof group chat. So that's all you need.
Right on.
All right, fellas. Always good chatting with you guys, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Have a good night. Cheers.